Rev up your engines!
Well, if they haven't gone insane enough in California, well, they've reached that next level. California now is having a new electric plan where you make more money, you pay more for electricity. So depending on how much money you make, you pay more for your electricity, right? And they were all saying, no, we'll get electric cars, we'll get this. Oh, you'll save money. No, you won't, because exactly as I predicted, if they start making things that use more and more electricity, they're going to raise the price of the electricity. And that's exactly what they're doing in California. And of course, what are they doing? The Democrats of California are taxing the rich, well, what they think is rich, to make things more affordable for the poor. The poor won't pay as much for electricity, right? How are they going to do this, right? Here's what they say. Households that earn $28,000 to $69,000 charged an extra $20 to $34 a month. Those earning $69,000 to $180,000 would pay $51 to $73 per month extra. And those earning more than $180,000 would pay $85 to $128 monthly surcharge. Well, here's the hilarious thing. The households that earn $28,000 are going to pay $20 a month more. That's not a tax on the rich, that's a tax on the poor, too. You try living on $28,000 a year in California, yeah, you'll be on the street, right? That's hardly any money to live in California. It's just basically a progressive tax. And of course, here's my thing that would be absolutely hilarious. Most really rich people don't pay any taxes, right? So if they don't pay any taxes, what, are they not going to pay any of the surcharge either? You know, these big corporations, they don't pay a penny in taxes, you know. Tesla, for example, didn't pay a penny in taxes. They get out there, we're going to make the rich pay for it. The rich will always find a loophole not to pay, right? Typical California, you know. Well, let's just make people pay more for electricity here. So the rich are going to pay more. No, they aren't. Do these people live in the real world? They keep saying, we're going to tax the corporations. Guess what? The corporations are just going to find a way to get out of paying tax. If a company as large as Tesla doesn't pay any tax, and there's lots of huge corporations that pay no tax whatsoever, do you really think that they're going to pay more? Yeah, they're going to pay more than nothing. Maybe they'll pay $1 or something, right? Live in a real world. They make these sound bites that sound great. Oh, make the rich and corporations pay for everything, right? Guess what? They're not going to. They have lawyers to find loopholes. Well, if you're like me and you watch the price of gas every day, you'll see it starting to go up again. Spring is here. They always come up with excuses of why to charge more money. Okay, here's their latest excuses. Oil prices rise by U.S. inventory data and a tax on Russian refineries. Okay, so now they have data that we don't have that much stored. Oh, there might be a shortage of gasoline. Let's raise the price. The Ukrainians attacked the Russian refineries. Let's raise the price of gas. Okay, we don't buy any gas from Russia anymore. We hardly bought any anyways, right? And we don't buy any of it now. Any excuse they can possibly come up with. It was absolutely hilarious what they used to do in Houston. I know people there that were meteorologists, right? And they made money on the stock market. When they see there's a hurricane was coming to the Gulf, then they raise the price of gas. They said, well, they're going to shut production down for a couple of days, and, well, it might be damaged. Let's raise the price of gas now, right? I mean, the thing hadn't even happened yet, but the price of gas would go up because it's just an excuse for the oil companies to raise the price. They can do whatever they want. They got so many tax write-offs from the government, the oil companies. They continue to make enormous profits, but they still get all these tax write-offs and all these special things from the government. Sure, they give them lots of money in their back pockets to get reelected too. They're looking for any excuse to raise the price of gas. Now they blame it on, oh, well, we don't have enough, and the Russian refineries are getting knocked out. Now we don't buy any gas from the Russians, but I mean, hey, it sounds like a really good excuse so we can raise the price of gas again. Well, I just read an article called Tariffs Aren't Enough to Save U.S. Manufacturers from Chinese EVs. And the guy had some very good points. There already is a heavy tariff. People are saying, oh, we need to make more tariffs to the Chinese because, they're going to dump the stuff in our land. As this guy admitted, the problem in the United States is they got into the idea that we're going to make really expensive electric vehicles that only the rich can afford, but we want poor people to buy them too. So they make a bunch of giant vehicles, the small ones, Chevy Bolt and stuff, they're not even making anymore. They're going to bring it back supposedly, but the Chinese make these small ones like no tomorrow. Now, what I don't understand is this. Almost everything we got, our clothes are made in China. China, our shoes are made in China, our computers are made in China, right? How come our cars can't be made in China? I mean, if you ask me, everything else is. What the heck's the difference, you know? And they keep talking about this, oh, buy American, buy American. Then you go and everything in the store is Chinese. Why can't cars be that way? You know, if they can make good small cars and people are going to buy them, Americans don't build them, that's too bad. Look what happened in the United States. Look how many people are driving Hondas and Toyotas, right? They make great cars. They'll hold up, right? Look at Ford and Chevy. They hardly make any cars anymore. Just make trucks and SUVs. They gave up with cars because they realized we can't compete with the Japanese. They do too good of a job building them, right? Well, if the Chinese can build little electric cars and if people want to buy them, I say let them bring them in. Who cares? Let it have an open market. You know, why do we have to be at the beck and call of buying expensive, crappy American cars when somebody else makes better ones? Protectionism is a horrible thing because it just raises the price for us consumers, right? Why do you think we're all wearing Chinese shirts, shoes, all that stuff? Because it costs a lot less and people don't want to spend a lot, so they will buy it. They might complain that it's made in China, but they're going out and buying it because it's so much lower price. That's just the way that it goes. And why should cars be any different? Especially if they're talking about electric cars, which basically only make sense as smaller cars. And the Chinese know how to make the small ones. If they do and they can sell them, I say, hey, more power to them. U.S. Army engineer vet says, I got a clanking sound come from my 2015 Ram. I turned the steering wheel to the right or left there, a clanking sound, and a brief pop. I had the upper ball joints done. Driver and passenger side. Didn't fix it. Help. Rather than guess, it was a good guess because ball joints go bad in those all the time. If you watch my video, finding the source of car noises, type that in YouTube, watch my video. You'll see there are machines out there. And if you go on Amazon, you can get some for as little as $75 that have sensors and you wear headphones and you got a master control inside the car. And if there's 8 sensors, there'll be 8 numbers. And you click it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. And every time you're on a number, that's sounds coming from that one. And they all have numbers on them so you know which one goes where, right? You will be able to find out where that sound is coming from, especially the pop. You can just keep putting it in, and finally when you get it on the part that's making the pop, it'll make the loudest noise. When you click on that number, then you follow it to that number sensor, and you'll find out what the noise is. There's lots of things in there that can make pop and noise, the stabilizer bars, all kinds of stuff. And rather than guess, use the sound machine, because you'll find that's a heavy truck, right? If you jack it up in the air and then pull on it, it might not make any noise at all, because it'll only make it when you have the whole weight of the heavy truck on it. That's generally what's called a loaded sound. It'll only come when a load is on the wheel, just like you could have a bad wheel bearing, right? And you'll hear it. But when you jack it up and spin it, there's no play because the weight of the vehicle is not. That's why these sound finding devices are phenomenal for finding the source of noise. And you don't just guess and, well, I put these ball joints on it and now it's still making a noise. Well, you would have known it wasn't those ball joints because when you put the sound machine near the ball joint, you would have seen the noise was coming from somewhere else. Mystic 192 says, I got an '08 Lexus with a sticky dash. I do believe the recall for the Lexus dashes is expired, but I thought, can you fix it if they don't take it back, or should they fix it? Okay, well, it wasn't really what's called a recall. Recalls are more for mechanical stuff where the car runs and stuff. I'd whine. They're expensive cars, right? So Lexus ES350, it wasn't cheap. See if they'll do anything about it, right? Now, if they won't, there are companies out there that make dash covers. And some of them look exactly the same as the other dash, and they just glue on top of the other dash. All the little holes and everything meets. Do that. There's all kinds. Some people don't care. They just get a regular mat that's cut to fit, and they put it on someone, a custom-made one. But there are things out there that you can make, because you can't stop it. The problem is those things. Plastic is made with what's called plasticizers, and they keep it flexible. And in that case, the plasticizers were bubbling up and making a sticky mess. And it's built into it. You couldn't stop it. You can't take it off, right? You'd have to cover it up with something. That's the only way you can do it. The Shadow 99 says, my son has a 2007 Yaris. He needs front bearings, and I found that I can't replace the bearings myself because I don't have a press and taking them in and out, but I could easily replace the whole hub and spindle if it came with the bearings. I can't find the parts on Rock Auto. Any suggestion? Okay, well, here's the problem. Those who are the rear bearings, yes. They sell the whole hub spindle as a unit. You take the 4 bolts off, pop it on, and away you go. Very simple job, right? But unfortunately, the way your Yaris is designed, the front bearings are pressed into the axle spindle assembly, and nobody sells them because it's the huge giant parts. It's not just here's the bearing, 4 bolts in the back. It's everything in the front, and you got to have them pressed in and out. So I would advise you to call around various machine shops or mechanic shops and say, what can you charge? It's like, say, you can't press them in and out. Well, you could take them apart, right? So if you took it apart and you had the bearing, before you do this, call around machine shop and say, can you press old bearings on and off? I've got the spindle and everything. I got it taken off and I got the bearings. And if they say, sure, we'll charge you this, then go to them. They'll just press the old ones off and press the new ones on. It's that easy. But you can't buy them. It doesn't work that way. It's a completely different design than that older style front wheel drive systems. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.